Hello guys, welcome to the knowledge domain, the concept of life sciences and biotechnology. In this lecture, we are going to learn the overall understanding of the geological time scales, and we'll get an idea about how the different plants and the animals evolved and how the geological time scales, these animals, they appear, they are in abundance, and they extinct. These parts will be discussed in these slides. So this is a Stanley Miller experimental apparatus. You can see the vacuum is created here. The water vapor, methane, ammonia, and the H2. They were exposed to the spark discharge, and on this process, it was found amino acids was created. So based on these experiments, it was hypothesized that in the planet Earth, when this type of environment was existing at that time, the presence of this inorganic molecule in the presence of the lightning, they results in the macromolecules like the amino acids generations. And like this, the life in this planet Earth, they originated, and along with the time they evolved, and finally the most evolved species, the human age, came into existence in this planet Earth. So this is a geological time scale around 15 billion years ago, according to the Big Bang theory. There is a huge explosion, and from that the entire universe was created. And our Earth was born around 4.6 billion years ago. And as we discussed in the previous slide, that it was very hot, and the lightening time of this planet, like you can see that it is very warm, and the earth was very wet during the pre-Cambrian time, and with the passage of the time, the precipitation of the wet of the earth become moved towards the dryness, and the temperature also reduced. And at the end of the Precambrian time, it reaches to a normal level. Then in the Phanerozoic era, there are the two time periods where there is a sudden uprise in the global precipitation, and there is a time when there is a sudden dip in the temperature in the planet Earth in the Permian period. You can see there is a dip in the temperature, and there is a rise in the precipitation. Similarly, in the Eocene period, there is a rise in the precipitation in this earth. So coming to the slightly elaborate form of the geological time scale, how the different organisms they evolved. So this is the eon. These two types, one is the Precambrian, as we discussed here, when the earth was hot and it was cooling down, and the global precipitation was decreasing with time. This is the Precambrian. It is divided into three portions: the Hardian, then the Archean, and the Proterozoic. Then the remaining time period is the Phanerozoic era, the Phanerozoic eon. It is divided into three era: the Paleozoic era, Mesozoic era, and the Cenozoic era. Then these era are further divided into the periods, like the Paleozoic era is divided into Cambrian, Ordovician, Silurian, Devonian. Then the Carboniferous is further divided into two, Mississippian and the Pennsylvanian. Then the latest is the Permian period. Then the Mesozoic era, it is very easy to remember: Triassic, Jurassic, and the Cretaceous. And the Cenozoic era is the Paleogene, Neogene, and the Quaternary. This is the period. Then it is further divided into the epoch. The Paleozoic is the Paleocene, Eocene, Oligocene. Neogene is the Miocene and the Pliocene. And the Quaternary period is into the Pleistocene, and the recent of the Holocene. So we are in this epoch in the present time. So here you can see that there was the ice age ends around 11,700 years ago, and it began around 2.6 million years ago. Then coming to the life origin. So 4.6 billion Earth was created. It is according to the time cool down. And during the cooling down around 4.5 billion years ago, there was the origin of life and followed the origin of life. This is the oldest known earth rock, slightly more than 4 billion years ago. Whatever rock, during the cooling down of the earth, the rock was created, the earth crust was formed. So the oldest known earth rock is almost as old as 4 billion years, and followed by at the beginning of the Archean period around 3.8 to 4 billion years ago, the early bacteria or all the algae were formed or they appear on this planet. Then around the late Archean or more than 2.5 billion years ago, abundant carbonated rocks were found and the carbon was there. And in the beginning of the Proterozoic era, there is a simple multicellular organism 2.5 billion years ago. And the end of the Phanerozoic, it became a complex multicellular organism. Then this is the time of the Paleozoic era. In the Paleozoic, in the Cambrian period, the marine vertebrate along with the fishes they originated. And this is the fish they expand, they proliferate, and the Devonian time period is known as the age of fishes. But the fish were very abundant during the Cambrian, Ordovician, Silurian, and the Devonian. In all these periods, fish was very abundant, but Devonian is known as the age of the fishes. Then the amphibians, they originated in the Devonian period, but they became abundant in the Carboniferous and the Permian period. But Carboniferous period is called the age of the amphibians. Then here the formation of the Pangea, formation of the Appalachians. This is the the land on the planet Earth. They were formed during this time. Then it is the Mesozoic era. So the first mammals was found in the Triassic as well as the first dinosaurs. But this Triassic, Jurassic, Cretaceous period, which is under the Mesozoic era, is known as the age of reptiles. And everyone known that the Jurassic is the age of the dinosaurs. So next coming to the Cenozoic era, which is the present time. It starts by the end of the Cretaceous and the beginning of the Paleogene, and this is the age of the mammals. Then in this, it is the major evolutionary geological events of the Paleozoic era that we have discussed earlier. So the first one is the around 540 million, 542 million years ago, that is the earliest vertebrate or the jawless fish called the Ostracoderms was found. Then followed by Ostracoderm diversified, as means first you appear, then you actually spread yourself and you become abundant on this plant. Along with this time, there is the movement of the plants to the land. Along the other things are happening, but these are the major events. Then the jawed fish, the first jawed fish in the Silurian time, and the seedless vascular plants. So in the beginning, there are no seeds in the vascular plants. Then followed by the age of the fishes, the Devonian time, and the seed evolved. This is the first seed evolved. This is the Devonian time. Then gymnosperms in the Mississippian. This is 359 million years ago. Then at the end of the Permian period, there were the largest extinctions of both invertebrates as well as the vertebrates. But during this time, the gymnosperms diverse and becomes abundant on this planet Earth. This is the brief classification of the fish groups. So these are the fish, they appear and they disappear. Ostracoderms, then Acanthodian and the Placoderm, they disappear by the end of the Paleozoic or the beginning of the Triassic. Then the low fin fish, cartilaginous fish, ray fin fish, they survive till the Cenozoic era. And they appears around the Silurian period. And this is the classification and what are the living representative of the fish. So here we can see the Ostracoderms, then Acanthodi and Placoderm. There are no living representative in the present time. And the order Crostopterygii and the suborder Rhipidistia, they have also no representative in the present time. So this is the evolution of the amniotes. Here you can see that snakes and the lizards are the common ancestry, and their ancestors share the common ancestry with the tuataras. This is the ichthyosaurs and the plesiosaurs, they have the common ancestry. Birds and the dinosaurs, they have the common ancestry. And their ancestors share the ancestry with the crocodiles, and the turtle, they have a separate lineage, and mammals a separate lineage. That's the ancestry with the therapsids. This is the diversification of the mammals. Here we can see the primates. It is having a common ancestry with the Scandancia, Dermoptera, and the Chiroptera. And the other orders of the mammal, they evolve separately. Though we can see that here they have the common ancestry. This is the hominin, our Homo sapien family. So in this one, you can see the main like ape appears around 7 million years ago. That is known as the Sahelanthropus cadensis. But this is also almost the Homo sapien common ancestor is the Ardipithecus ramidus that we'll discuss in the following slide. So here we can see the Ardipithecus ramidus is almost like ancestor of the Homo sapien, followed by the Australopithecus afarensis. Then there is a branch like the Homo habilis and the Homo rudolfensis, means they diversify from the human stock. Then there is the Homo ergaster, followed by the Homo erectus and the Homo sapien. This is the evolution of the land plants. Here we have a very brief introduction before about the evolution of the plant species. So in this case, you can see that the first land plants form the upper Ordovician times. Then the Polygymnosperms is the upper Devonian time, and this is the conifer type seed plants in the Carboniferous period they appear, and this is the flowering plant time goes to the Cretaceous period. Thank you.